Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, thanks for having joined us in this session organized by the European Music School Union. I am Helena Maffli, the president of the EMU and your moderator. Most European music schools offer vocal and choral training with different aims and approaches depending on their curricula and their own traditions. According to the EMU statistics, the choir sector represents 18% of the group activities in European music schools. This is actually a lot, but nevertheless this area is a grey zone in the EMU because we traditionally focus more on instrumental teaching. Taking into consideration the huge potential and the integrative power of singing in music education, we need to analyze the situation to build bridges between instrumental, vocal and theoretical training. We need fruitful partnerships between music schools, public schools and choral associations, and we are here to address this global issue. I have around me 4 eminent specialists from across Europe. Let me present them to you briefly. To my left, I have Kaie Tanner, who is an Estonian conductor and manager. She holds the position of Secretary General in the Estonian Choral Association, and since 2010, she has conducted children's choirs of the Estonian radio. She is board member of the European Choral Association, Europa Cantat, as well as the European Music Council. Kaie is also the president of the Choral Festival Network. To the left of Kaie, we have our Hungarian participant, Mrs. Marianna Spiegel. She graduated from this Liszt Academy as a piano, solfège and oboe teacher. She has taught piano and solfège for decades at the Liszt Music School, solfège and music theory at the Music Secondary School, and solfège methodology at the teacher training faculty of the University of Győr. She has given instruction, lectures and workshops related to the Kodai concept in many European countries, including higher music education institutions. Marianna Spiegel is also the co-author of several important pedagogical publications. Then I have the pleasure to introduce to you Mrs. Agnes Dalarun, who studied musicology at Sorbonne Paris 5 and specialized in choral singing and direction at the Conservatoire of Boulogne-Billancourt. She has extensive expertise in vocal and choral training and direction with children and adults at different levels, basic, advanced, prize-winning opera, and in different educational settings, conservatoires, primary schools and choral associations. Agnes Dalarun is vice-director of the Conservatoire in Chantilly, next to Paris, where important partnerships have been created with other institutions or associations, and pedagogical bridges have been built over years between vocal, instrumental and theoretical music education. And last but not least, a board member of the European Music School Union, Mr. Tomáš Kolafa from the Czech Republic, who is violinist, choir conductor, and music theory and history teacher. He is the headmaster of the Primary and Secondary School of Performing and Fine Arts and Music in Liberec, Czech Republic. National and international prize winners, the children's and youth choirs of this school have a long tradition, and Mr. Kolafa is one of their educators and conductors since 16 years. He has extensive knowledge and experience about successful integration of vocal and choral activities in a major music and arts school. He is also the executive director of the Czech Association of Music Schools. Kaie. Each one of these eminent experts will now give a short presentation of what is for them a very important area in these cooperations, challenges and opportunities between music schools and other partners. Kaie, you have the floor first.
If this wonderful thing behind me could work, I would really love that. Wonderful. Estonia is often called a singing country, and of course we would love to justify this honorable title. We have about 1,400 choirs in Estonia, with 44,000 singers altogether. It's not that big number, but as we have only 1.3 million inhabitants in Estonia, the percentage of choristers is quite high. And about 60% of them are children and youth choirs, so majority. I just wanted to point out three most important aspects of choral life, in my opinion. First of them is training singers, of course, and it is important to know where these singers come. As you heard, majority of our singers are children and youth, and mostly they come from schools. There are several age levels in schools. Of course, not all schools have all of these choirs, and usually the number of choirs decreases when the age increases. So the biggest group is young children's choir. The choirs in gymnasium are already less, and the boys' choir is the smallest group. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that every school in Estonia has choir. We have still more than 200 schools without choir. But it is the biggest singers training institution in Estonia. It's schools. In addition to the music lessons, there are also choral singing lessons in some schools, but it depends on the school principal. So you may have them or not. And of course, it helps a lot that music teacher and choral conductor in Estonia who works in school must have university-level music education, even in primary school. We are very happy about that. The second group is singing studios, which are quite popular in Estonia. They are usually private or owned by local municipalities, and they teach solo singing, and many of them have choral classes. Some start from very early age, like baby music lessons are quite popular, and they already start with children at the age of a couple of weeks. And of course, there are also singers training in arts and music schools, but it's not actually very big in Estonia. We have about 144 music schools, and 30% of them actually teach singing. And probably the reason is that so many children are singing already in their school, so there is no need for doubling that. And of course, the other very important thing is output. And the cooperation is very important because almost all of these choirs are participating in song celebration. Really, almost everyone. And it is supported by state. All the choirs, also brass bands and symphony orchestras meet there. And in addition to that, we organize national festivals for every color categories. So it's really important that choirs have something to do. And of course, the best of them go to international stages. And of course, the third important thing is support. You see the numbers which our choirs get from state or local municipalities. It's not much. But it is important addition for the choirs' budgets every year. So all the choirs who participate in song celebration process get some money from state, conductors get some grant from state. The choirs get money from local municipalities, plus of course there are other projects. And we are very happy that in cooperation of Cultural Ministry, the choirs who participate in high-level international competitions can get special support from Ministry of Culture when they have recommendation from Estonian Choral Association. Of course, there are also different funds for your projects. And our scheme for cooperation is quite simple. Estonia is very small, and we just share the persons. So in Estonian Choral Association Board, we have also member of Estonian Music School Union Board, and our representatives belong to Estonian Music Council Board and Estonian Music Development Board, and also to Song Celebration Council. So all of this is big system, and we are really happy about this cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kaie. What is striking is this unity of this small singing country. It might be a best practice example in a given context in this panel discussion. Marianna, please.
I start with a quotation by Sultan Kodály. If we wanted to characterize the essence of music education with one word, this word could only be singing. Our age of mechanization leads along a road ending with man himself as a machine. Only the spirit of singing can save us from this fate. Children should be led to the great masterpieces of literature through singing. The experience of singing is much more lasting than just listening to music passively. Quotation ends. So almost all our music activities are based on singing, including of teaching music elements as rhythm, solfa-names, absolute names, musical structure, and so on. In the first classes, children sing rhymes, children's songs, using the games, movements which belong to them. Later, then we teach Hungarian folk songs and folk songs by other nations, for example, Austrian and German folk songs, which is very close to the masterpieces of the Vienna classical masters as Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven. So if we want to teach the children the music literature, we don't do that chronologically, but we start with the Vienna classical music, which is a clear harmonic structure and clear harmonic progression and melodic lines. Later, they learn art songs and masterpieces of the music literature, themes of any music which can be sung. The main role of the music schools is teaching instruments, but we consider solfege and music theory as very important. Therefore, children get, besides instrumental lessons, 2 solfege lessons a week, at least for 4 years. Unfortunately, it's a step backwards, because up to now, children were obliged to have 2 lessons for 6 years. After 4 years, they have the choice to go on with the solfege or take up music literature, choir, chamber music, jazz history, and so on, orchestra also. The main role of the music schools is, Sándor Kovács, who was the first to apply the results of psychology for music teaching, wrote, "Instrumental teaching cannot even be imagined without singing. Singing is an excellent facilitator of musicality, since music is experienced by the child not as a system of a succession of notes, but as a continuous dynamic process. In piano teaching, singing has a particular significance. The learning of string and wind instruments is also greatly assisted if the child hears the music or musical unit as a continuous, coherent progression before encountering its technical problems. Thus, through singing, we can gain information on the quality of the child's musical experience. If one sings, question of correct breathing, articulation, and phrasing always come up. The solfege lesson is a group activity. Communal singing, which is both enjoyable and musically correct, should become the children's greatest and most convincing experience in the solfege lessons. Solfege lessons offer opportunities for part singing, communal music making, and the use of instruments. This result is richer and much more profound musical experience than solo playing. This is significant, especially for unison instrumentalists, because in these early years, this is their only chance to hear, listen, and this is very, very important, adapt to other part, and enjoy playing together. Kodai considered it important to sing in choirs. Larger and larger masses of people have to be brought into contact with true, valuable music. What is the most suitable route for this? Choir singing. He added, the most improving task is singing the middle parts. Fine singing and pure intonation are ensured by the appropriate level of musical hearing and the correct use of vocal organs. Perhaps the most important element of the Kodai concept is the development of hearing, especially the inner hearing, and that is our most important task in solfege teaching. The development of inner hearing is not a separate exercise in solfege, but a fundamental method spanning the whole teaching, wrote Dobszai László. The imagination of notated music, its recalling in our inner hearing, must precede the axial sounding. This applies both to vocal and instrumental music. The aim of improvement of the singing skill is the establishment of an expressive, fine singing voice. It is the teacher's responsibility to safeguard the children's voices. Solfege lessons offer opportunities to correct wrong conditioning and bad singing habits. Presentation by the teacher is especially important when teaching songs by ear. The teacher's fine and expressive singing will be a model for children who, while learning the song, will learn its performing style at the same time. When teaching songs from notation, the teacher should present the song to illustrate the right manner of performance. The teacher should also explain what tempo and performance style is appropriate to the content. When teaching art songs, the composer's instruction must be followed. Thus, not only will pupils' singing improve, but their secure knowledge of style and sensitivity to dynamics and tempo will also be consolidated. We use warm-up exercises at the beginning of the lessons. The aim of vocal warm-up is warming up the vocal cords and the learning of singing techniques up to the level allowed by the framework of a solfege lesson. Warm-up also develops good articulation, body resonance, which influence timbre and correct breathing techniques, which are indispensable for fine singing. It is important that students sing with joy and courage and strive for perfection. Musical reading and writing are an important means of music education. With the help of musical literacy, even pupils should be able to appreciate and actively make valuable music. The path from musical ignorance to understanding music leads through reading and writing. A quotation by Kodai. Musical reading and writing, the path towards understanding music is available to everyone. In possession of this knowledge, one can receive great musical experiences. As Kodai visited England, he saw that the members of the choir were singing for score, not just imitating the pitches which were played on the piano. So he learned that the best way to reading music is relative solfa. He wrote, solfa singing shortens the way to fluent reading. Naturally, that applies on the relative solfa, where the pronunciation of the note, its role in the tonality is already defined. We emphasize that every element of the solfege lesson, so the singing, must serve the musical experience and the advance of the pupil's musical abilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianna. I just picked 2 or 3 words which were very significant for me. Singing, continuous direct process. Now we are in this singing for everyone. And solfege that you teach, according to the Kodai concept, is not only a pedagogical but a highly artistic branch, which permeates fundamentally, the whole music education. Wonderful example, thank you. Agnes, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. 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 Thank you So I would like to show you how a strong will and a strong wish from different French partners came to a successful conclusion through a production of a famous opera, Carmen by Bizet. And there's some pictures. Okay, thank you. In those times of crisis, which are now sensible in France as well as in other countries, partnerships could be a good way of creating a network of human, material, and financial means. Thus, the production of Carmen, which was performed in March, was rather original as it gathered professionals and amateurs, children and adults, pupils and teachers, national, regional, and local forces, public and private structures, different associations and federation, and of course different forms of art, theater, dance, music, and stage management. This stands for 150 persons, including 40 children, 3 performances, and a huge budget. Most of the structure are subsidized either by the state, the region, or the French department, and also the city. The cost of the production was divided between all the partners, depending on the possibilities. In every instance, it was a risk and a substantial effort, yet an amazing experience, especially for the children. It involved 2 children choirs of 2 conservatoires of a French department, a county in northern Paris called Oise, and that 2 professional conductors, including me. I'm a choir conductor at Chantilly Music School, and I'm also teaching singing in all the primary schools in town. Even though Chantilly is a rather rich place, Alban and Enora, for example, both 10-year-old girls, come from a disadvantaged area of the city. They sing with me at the public school once a week, and also at the music school with me once a week. Only their extreme motivation for the project of Carmen, as well as the sense of commitment of the parents, led them on stage. I mean, no audition for the children. Through this experience, we noticed how the movement helps them to surpass themselves, to improve their artistic, vocal, choral gesture, expression, and emotional intelligence. This can add up to develop a real motivation throughout their lives. We also noticed how the individuals, the choirs, and also the families can be all together fully engaged in a large singing project. Of course, by this sort of project, we hope to win more and more the political decision makers over to the importance of dedicating financing to artistic practices. Carmen was such a success that it paved the way for a new project with the children in collaboration with the National Theatre, a European one this time, the production of Noise Flute Opera by Britain. Now I'll let you see 2 minutes and 15 seconds of a video of Carmen.
Thank you, Agnes. You said that you needed an extreme motivation. I do believe this. But you also said that you unlocked potential and finances through these partnerships. And the fact that you can include kids from disadvantaged city areas is one more proof of the power of singing. In instrumental teaching, this would be very difficult. Thank you very much for this wonderful example. And Tomas, you have the floor now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the Czech system of education and how the formal education can help non-formal education, and back, like non-formal education can help us formal education. First of all, I would like to introduce the music and art schools. In Czech Republic, with 10 million inhabitants, we have a little bit less 500 art schools for the students from 5 to 20 years old. And a lot of this school has 4 departments. We have no only music school, for example, like in Poland and the other countries. We have 4 departments. Music, drama, painting, and ballet. It's fantastic that many of this school can helping inside make cooperations, and it's very good for future. And our formal school system is very old, has a very long tradition, and we have curriculum. Each school has own curriculum and follow the state curriculum. We have minimum what the children must take for next year. And I have here a small booklet about our school. You can take it when you go out from this hall behind the door. You can take it. It's in English, and you can see that we have these four departments of drama and music and painting and ballet. The curriculum is very important for us because can I ask you send the picture, please? Here you can see our school. We have 1,877 students. They are coming afternoon and from 2 hours to 20 hours evening. And the Czech system has a very good tradition. We have law. Our school system has law. Our teachers are law because if you want to teach in our school, you have to study for example, instrument on conservatoire or academy, and still pedagogical. This is very important, both instrument or choir or drama plus pedagogical level. And we are very happy that we have a very good budget. We have 80% from state from Ministry of Education, and 20% we have the parents' fee. This is very, very important. And we have many competitions, open competitions. For example, violin, they have every 3 years open competition from school to republic level. And the last, what is important, we have the school inspection. We have open self-evaluation, and plus we have the Czech school inspection. And this is a very strong system. And I, for example, can talk shortly about our singing in our school. We have, in our school, we have a choir from children from 5 to 18 years old. And these children, they have 130 minutes per week to choir rehearsals, and every child has open face-to-face 45 minutes individual lesson. This is fantastic, and because we are a big school, we can make this big support for ours. And what is very important, when the children coming, they are 5 years old, 6 years old, we have special program that the children can try dance, drama, painting, all. And they have 1 year for preparation, which way they want going and follow. This is very important. And now how we can our formal education help, for example, non-formal. When the children are in choir, we have many students, they finished and they want singing, follow singing. This is very important, and in our city they follow in mixed choir, chamber choir for adults, for students, and this is very good. And our children coming back because, for example, every evening we have rehearsal for this amateur singers, and they want singing. And our school is open, for example, evening from 8 to 10 evening, and this is very cheap for them. And for us, it's helping that when the singer will be like adults, like parents, they bring own children back. And I think this is very important, that the Czech system guarantee the continue for many generations. Our tradition is very, very long, and I have to say we are very proud about the system. And we have very strong criteria for professional. For example, when the amateur choirs want singing, they want professional conductor, and they want singing. It's not that we are the best, no. They need quality, and with quality coming the social aspect. This is very important for all groups in our city and in Czech Republic. I think I have many sentences, but I think for introducing it's enough. Here you can see several pictures. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomas, for this wonderful example of how vocal and choral training integrates a lot of people and generations and different art subjects in your wonderful school in Liberec. Thank you very much for all the panel speakers. Gabor is making signs that our time is up. A couple of minutes. Wonderful. Because we were here to talk about opportunities, challenges, and partnerships. And I just wanted to ask maybe two panelists to tell, maybe one, what was your biggest success in terms of these three objectives? It can be any one of them. And maybe what was your biggest problem? This is a challenge. Or is it enough what you already said? Does it shine through your presentation? I think so. Is there one question from the public? One. I'm pushing you. This is hard. Yes, please.
Our position in Czech Republic is very strong because the parallel is with the Czech beer, which government take the price of Czech beer. It's the way to hell for this government, because we have a little bit similar position in Czech Republic with our art school, because many our actors and very known people, if will be Chris and the other, they go on the stage, on the TV, and they say, it's our long tradition, we have Dvořák, we have many composers, and this is our culture, this is our lobbying. It must be.
Thank you very much. I think this was the good word to close this session. Thank you very much for your attendance. And you can ask questions at this session between 5 and 6 at any one of these panelists. Thank you very much.